Hi and welcome to the VOA Monster Online Academy. My name is Johan Aridmark, and today I have the pleasure of having a guest with me, Mr. Richard Hicks. Hey there, how are you, sir?
How's it going, Johan? Thanks for having me.
All is good, all is good. So, for people that don't know you, uh, who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Very good. You've not heard of me. My name is Richard Hicks. I'm an IT consultant, independent consultant, industry veteran, been in the IT business for about 25, 30 years now. And I focus as a consultant, I'm a specialist, and I focused in predominantly in two areas. Secure remote access and digital certificates and PKI. So we do a lot of work with traditionally and classically VPN, moving to a lot of zero trust solutions today. And of course, I do a lot of work with digital certificates and PKI because certificates are a great credential to use for those high risk resources that you need to make sure that you have very strong authentication for. So that's basically how I got into certificates was for remote access. They're the best credential to use, no question.
All right, fantastic. So on the Academy, you have been hosting a couple of trainings with us over the years, but in particular, you have a upcoming class regarding certificates a little bit.
I do, yes. We've held this course once or twice before. It's been very successful. And it's the Masterclass is around certificates in Intune. So it's basically it's a 3-day deep dive covering all aspects of issuing and managing certificates using Intune. So as organizations are adopting more cloud native strategies and approaches, identities are cloud native, endpoints are cloud native. We're getting away from the classic Active Directory on-premise domain join kind of thing. We need to figure out how to get certificates to these users and devices in the cloud that are cloud native. And so there are a variety of ways in which to do that. And so obviously using Intune is a great way to do it, but there's a couple of different kind of avenues or channels in which you can use to get certificates to those endpoints. And that's what we cover in the class. We go over it top to bottom. We cover all aspects. We talk about PKCS. We talk about SCEP. We will talk at length about NDES, Network Device Enrollment Service, which is a component that's required for SCEP. And so many in your audience might be familiar with that. So we cover that in detail. We also cover Microsoft's new Cloud PKI for Intune, which is a pretty compelling cloud-based certificate service. So you can, sometimes people are kind of afraid of certificates and don't want to manage their own PKI. You can set one up in mere minutes using Intune Cloud PKI, and we cover that in the class as well.
I mean, there is nothing that can ever be complicated around certificates, right? Everything is just as it says on the documentation page.
That's right. Well, I'm famous for, I have a saying that says it's always DNS. When it's not DNS, it's certificates.
Oh yeah, remember that sticker that you brought to MMS? That one was fantastic. All
I
right.
still owe Andrew one, I think, too. But yes, absolutely.
Are you coming to Nashville this year, by the way?
I will not be at MMS in Nashville this year. That kind of overlaps with some vacation that I had already had planned. So I will be, I'm going to be at the Tech Mentor event in Redmond in August this year, mid-August. I will also be at Workplace Ninjas in the US. There's a new Workplace Ninjas conference in Dallas, Texas this year I think it's the beginning of
December.
Yeah. So yes, so I'll plan to be at that one, and then who knows? Fingers crossed, I might see you at MMS in Minnesota next May.
Yeah, I was hoping to go to the one in Dallas as well. I've not. The sessions are not approved yet, but I'm hoping. Anyhow,
hopefully I'll see you there then.
Sounds good. I happen to have a screen share with your class here up on the Academy. Obviously, you can go ahead and read all the gory details, what's included in the various modules, etc. But why is this Why does this matter? Why is this important to folks?
So one of the reasons I put together this training session is digital certificates and PKI are critical for providing the highest level of assurance for authenticating users, especially for what I call high-risk workloads like Wi-Fi and VPN. The risk associated with using Wi-Fi and VPN are that anybody can connect to these services. Now, I say VPN is probably, and remote access of any type is probably the most risky workload you have, because I can access that service from anywhere and then attempt to try to hack in, right? If I have stolen usernames and passwords from your users through a phishing attack, which is trivial these days, I might be able to authenticate to your VPN and connect to your network. Wi-Fi is similar, except for I have to be in physical proximity to that access point, right? But same thing, I can try to log in on your access point as well. So we want to ensure that we're using the strongest credentials possible. Usernames and passwords are fundamentally bad. We all know that. Certificates are a much better way to do that. It's a much better credential. It is a strong phishing resistant credential. And so it makes perfect sense to use these, especially for those workloads like, again, VPN and Wi-Fi. But you can use certificates for a lot of things. Herein lies the problem. Certificates are easy enough to stand up a CA with ADCS. It's kind of, you can really just go through the wizards and stand it up. And then once you start issuing certificates, you might think that, hey, this is not terribly difficult. The challenge that we face is that there's not a lot of comprehensive documentation for issuing and managing certificates with Intune on the internet. There's a few guides here and there. I'll be honest with you, as a deep technical expert in certificates and PKI and Intune certificates as well, I can tell you that the vast majority, well, all of the documentation that I have ever read on the internet, both from Microsoft and from third parties, not one of them is complete. Most of them do not include standard best practices, and some of them include guidance that's actually wrong or would make your implementation less secure. And so I found it really frustrating, because I thought, I almost need to write a book about this. There's enough material there to do it. So when I came out with the course outline, because I was helping a lot of my customers and it was very eye-opening for them, I said, well, this is probably a good opportunity to maybe present this in a training class session and give you all of the information that you need from top to bottom, starting with just issuing basic certificates with Intune, using PKCS. We'll go over SCEP, which requires NDES. And NDES, by the way, Network Device Enrollment Service, is so complex to install and configure. It takes up almost an entire day. Almost the entire day 2 of your training course here is setting up, issuing certificates with SCEP. And so for many people out there, they're like, oh, I already stood up SCEP. And if you have, you know what a pain in the butt it is. But you probably are not secure. If you followed any of the guides on the internet or Microsoft's guide, you are probably doing it wrong. I'll be blatantly honest with you. So it's going to be eye-opening, even if you've actually done some work with NDES, SCEP, and certificates. You might find this very interesting, because you might find that and this happens a couple of times already, is they find that we are in a really bad spot. We didn't even know it. We're going to have to redeploy our NDES SCEP infrastructure now that our eyes are open to this. So, fundamentally, it all boils down to lack of comprehensive documentation on the internets, Microsoft and non-Microsoft, for these rather critical workloads, for sure.
All right, fantastic. Richard, thank you so much for joining today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, looking forward to see you again in August. Have a good
Awesome.
day, sir.
Very good. Thanks,
Bye.
Johan.